afternoon and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment meeting for October 17th. My name is Brian and I'll be chairing the meeting today. First order of business is any pecuniary interest by any of the members. Take that as a no. Our first application today is an application for consent, and it's part of lot 31 and 32, concession 2 of Sydney. The owner is Claridge Homes Belleville, and the agent is RFP Planning. And is there anyone here to speak for these people? Come forward. Make sure to push the button there. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Just a brief introduction on this one. So the application for consent is to create two severed parcels and also the retained parcel. It's at the northwest corner of Bell Boulevard and Hannafin Road. The property is currently vacant, and as can be seen on the development site plan and sketch of severance on the screen, there's a proposal for a hotel on the proposed easternmost lot, self-storage in a single building on the middle lot, and the western lot would remain undeveloped for the time being.
Thank you, Greg. Now your turn.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Legere, Senior Planner with RFA Planning Consultant. I'm the agent for these applications. We've reviewed the staff report and concur with the conditions of consent. I'm here to help to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Just severing this property into two pieces, correct?
There'll be three in total.
Okay.
Yeah, so two new, one retained.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, plus there are easements that are also proposed to have shared access along Bell Boulevard, which was actually a requirement with the Bell Boulevard policies. And we have an additional easement we've requested for the access off Hannafin Road to allow a common access, secondary access for all the lots.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is there anyone else that wishes to comment on the properties on Bell Boulevard? No? Okay. Having no further comments, questions, concerns?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Robert, seconded by Joe. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Our next application is a minor variance on the same property. And Greg, can you just let us know what's happening with that one?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The application for minor variance relates to proposed use of the middle parcel. They are seeking relief for the maximum building height for the proposed self-storage units from 13.5 meters, which is the current maximum, to increase the building height to a maximum of 15 meters. They are also seeking a reduction in parking. The reason behind the parking reduction is that the city's zoning bylaw does not have a specific standard for self-storage uses, so it would default to the warehousing and storage use, which would apply to a range of industrial type uses. So they're suggesting, based on their application, that the proposed the current requirement for 3/4 of a space per 100 square meters of gross floor area is more than they would need. And so they are requesting relief to reduce that to 3/4 of a parking space per 1,000 square meters of gross floor area.
How many parking, going back to the number of parking spots, how many are required and how many are we reducing by this for simplicity?
Essentially, it's a factor of 10 that they're looking at cutting off.
And again, self-storage is, there's not going to be a whole lot of parking there. It's not going to be like it's an active business, so to speak. Yeah. Okay. Sir, do you have any other comments?
I suppose I should be formal because it's a second agenda item.
Yeah.
Sean Legere, Senior Planner
Yeah.
with RFA Planning Consultant. I'm the agent for this application as well. I'm here to answer. We've reviewed the staff report. There are no conditions like the consent,
Yeah.
and we have no further comment except to offer any assistance in answering any questions you might have.
I don't have any questions, no?
I just had a quick question,
Sure.
to you, Mr. Chair. Just the actual number of spaces. I'm sure it's on this diagram. I just can't see it. How many parking spaces are proposed?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are 8 parking spaces proposed.
Now, is this facility, is it going to be the type of self-storage that has units all the way around, or is this something you drive into and the units are inside?
So one of the benefits of through you, Mr. Chair, one of the benefits of, this is a multi-level self-storage facility, so it'll be 4 stories. And one of the benefits of this type of facility is it offers interior loading area. And so you can see that if you look at the diagram, you can see that is outlined within the footprint. So that does offer additional, those spaces will actually be used the most frequently. There will only be 2 to 3 staff on site at any given time to facilitate the rental of the units and general office duties. This is outlined in my report. And so this basically, the loading spaces will be the most frequently used spaces, and we'll probably have 2 to 3 parking spaces, regular parking spaces that will be used at any given time, which so at any given time it's anticipated we'll have a surplus of about 5 spaces at any given time. Self-storage facilities are very low volume, very infrequent visits by customers. And unfortunately, Belleville is no exception to all the municipalities. I did sort of broaden my review of the parking requirements. I wasn't able to find a good one for self-storage facilities to reflect the type of use. As my colleague was saying earlier, it's just one of those uses that's lumped in with industrial uses, and which in general, the parking requirements are for many employees upon multiple, 2 shifts a day, and once you have multiple shifts per day, you have to require double the parking. So it's just unfortunate that the zoning bylaw, the new zoning bylaw, doesn't reflect a good self-storage provisions for parking requirements, rather.
Most of the traffic's just gonna be in and out anyway. Go in, drop their stuff off, or in to pick it up, whatever. They're not gonna be spending a lot of time there anyway.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, again, the nature of self-storage facilities is very low volume, very infrequent use by customers, where they'll be using largely the loading spaces that are provided inside the building. There'll be large garage doors, taller floor, cube trucks and so on can get in there and load and unload. That's the area that will be used the most by customers, and it's just a very infrequent type of use. So unfortunately, again, the zoning bylaw doesn't reflect that.
Just one more additional question. This might be getting a little too much into the weeds, but through you, Mr. Chair, is the facility, is it proposed to be run like, I've never had a unit like that in this type of facility. Is it like appointment-based where people will make appointments to use the loading zones? Or is there a situation where there's going to be multiple cars piled up, stacking up onto the road, trying to get in there to use them all at the same time? Or do they have like a system where they'll be, will they have a system where there'll be I guess my only worry here is what I'm seeing is like, where do the people go if the loading zones are full and the parking spots are full? Like, cause there's only so many there, plus you got staff there, right? I don't know how many units are in there. Yeah, how many units is it gonna have?
We don't have a number of units available, unfortunately, through you, Mr. Chair. So if the loading spaces are full, the other customers that would be visiting would be parking in the parking spaces. It's just simply not contemplated. I did review some of these types of operations in the GTA. The closest one I could find was in Oshawa, and the parking lot is empty. And they only provide 8, 9 spaces for a similar size facility, and the parking area was empty. So it's just basically what we're attempting to do here is more properly implement the official plan, which the zoning bylaw is supposed to do, and to provide sufficient and adequate parking, which with the number of employees and the frequency of the use, in our experience, this is much more appropriate in implementing the official plan.
It may be something that they would look at as if people are coming to unload, they're going to be be here at 2 o'clock and the next guy's there at 3 and that kind of thing. I
Sorry
think
to
that's what
answer,
Joe
yeah,
was
sorry,
alluding
through
to,
you,
right?
Mr. Chair,
That-
there's that part of your question I missed,
Yeah,
I'm
that
sorry.
was, I think what he was alluding to.
Usually there's a fob type system. Customers are given a fob, typically where when they arrive, everything's locked. It's a locked type facility. I mean, there will be regular business hours, but it's a type facility where people can come any time of day, and so that helps with any clustering of folks where you can access your unit at any time, any day. The office does not have to be open. Typically for self-storage, you get a fob, everything's locked, and so when you show up, you do your fob, the door opens, and then you go to your unit, get your stuff, and leave kind of thing. It's
Okay,
kind of
so there's a low risk that we're gonna run out of parking spaces.
it's a very low risk is what I'm trying to say, and
enough.
just, sorry, I didn't answer your question earlier. There are no, self-storage facilities typically are not run by appointment. They're a 24-hour type of facility where you can go at any time of day, any day of the week, and get your stuff.
Just the loading zone I was unfamiliar with. I've seen that type, but
Yep.
I don't think there's anything like that around Belleville in this area yet.
So-
Okay, I was just more or less curious to know how, because I'm thinking like, well, if everyone goes, if 10 people show up at once to use it, is there enough room kind of thing, right?
So through you, Mr. Chair, just to add, the best standard that I've found so far is by the town of Greater Napanee. So they don't contemplate multi-level structures, but the best standard I've found so far that I've used in other locations for other self-storage facilities is as long as you provide a driving aisle, so picture your typical single-story units, as long as you provide the 7-meter driving aisle, you do not have to provide any parking. So that sort of tells you the picture of like the frequency of use of these types of things. As long as you provide people, they can get around drive around the buildings, you don't require any parking. So that's the best standard I've been able to find so far. It's just we have a multi-story facility here, so some parking is required to address your concern there. So 8 spaces is being provided, plus 3 loading spaces, which exceeds the requirement of the zoning bylaw for the square footage we're providing. So we're actually providing more loading space than is required, and in addition to that, we're providing 8 parking spaces.
And I suppose you got that area back towards the transformer. Is that a through? No, it doesn't look like it is, eh? So I guess, yeah, there's lots of room on the side there too if it happens. So I just wanted to make sure that we had enough spaces. I'm satisfied with it.
Any other questions, sir, back there, are you here just to observe or Ron's observing? Okay, all righty, want to make sure. All righty, no further questions, comments, a motion? I motion to approve it. Okay, second by Michael. All in favor? Done, thank you. Okay, our next is the confirmation of minutes